The museum collections grew from collections gathered by members of the literary and philosophical societies in Sheffield, and they travelled the world and gathered all kinds of objects from across the globe and really formed them into cabinets of curiosity. They then gifted those to the city of Sheffield, and they formed the foundation of the museum that we know today. And really, I think their purpose was to give inspiration to whole generations of Sheffield people. And that's what the museum continues to do today. Our job really is to make those collections accessible to people now, but also to the future generations of Sheffield.
Some are just as close and others. Good.
A lot of people don't understand what it is that curators do, but the word care and the word curator pretty much have the same root. That's what curators are all about. It's caring for the collections, caring for the history of the city.
So there's been a number of curators since then. So a curator in, way back when collected something, then me as the current curator can then choose to put it out. And then if I collect something now, I've got to remember that in 50 years' time somebody else might be wanting it, and I've got to leave a really nice record trail for them.
What's important to me is when we are finished, we walk out of one door and the press and the public come in the other, and I want everything that we do to be invisible so that all the public sees and the experience they get is purely from the work that we've put on, not the work that we've done, if you see what I mean.
The main reason everything isn't on display is about space. I mean, the Metalwork Gallery, if you visited, you may know that it's fairly packed full of objects. There's quite a good number of things on display there, and that's still around 10% of the overall metalwork collection. So physically we can't display all of the objects, it just simply wouldn't be possible.
The data that we hold here is irreplaceable, not to mention it's incredibly popular with the public as well.
Future generations, which I know sounds a bit pompous, but I've got to make sure I get it right now, because I don't want someone to be cursing me in 50 years' time saying, why didn't you record that, why didn't you ask that question, because we can't find that information anymore because we weren't there and it's gone.
And the diversity of the objects that I've got to handle over the years, from Leonardo da Vinci's owned by the Queen, and Francis Bacon's, Turner's, Picasso's, so all sorts of.
My favourite piece, and probably a lot of visitors' favourite, is our turtle soup tureen, which is one of the stars of the Metalwork Gallery, and he's a fantastic character, and rather sadly he would have been used to serve up turtle soup at a large banquet, perhaps at the Cutler's Hall. So he's rather a sorry figure as well as a rather amusing one.
There's so many things that are really charming, so you might forget about them, and then you go into a box and you still have that joy of opening a box and going, ooh, what are you? Look at this.
It's a question we're asked quite a lot, and for a curator that's a little bit like asking which your favourite child is, whether it's your son or your daughter. It's a very, very difficult question to answer.
There's so many. I quite like a 1950s duck potty. I don't know why, seeing as it's something that's been used for,
It's one of the things that certainly Ruskin liked about Sheffield was the kind of skill and the workmanship and the kind of attitude of Sheffield folk, and the little that I know about the subject, that's kind of why he set up a museum here, to embrace that.
I mean, museums are the history of the city, they're the heritage of the city. The collections don't belong to any one individual, whether it be a councillor or the average guy in the street or me as a curator. They belong to all of us in the city. We've all contributed to it in one way or the other, Some people have directly contributed their possessions to the museum. So the things that we hold for the city and for the benefit of the city.
And do you get some odd things coming in?
Yeah, when I first started, I had to pick up the phone when I knew it was probably a donation inquiry. I used to get a little bit terrified because I didn't know what it was going to be, because it could be absolutely anything. I would say, I don't know what the most, I don't think we collected it in the end, but somebody offered a 1970s condom in its original wrapping.
We have the skull of a baboon that was killed in the Sheffield flood in 1864. And you may well ask, what on earth was a baboon doing in the Sheffield flood? As it turns out, I mean, Sheffield used to have quite a lot of menageries, and there was a monkey sanctuary at Neep's End. I haven't read anywhere about it, and we really only know about it from a single catalogue card that says baboon killed at Neep's End monkey sanctuary in 1864.
We had a spoof one once where someone wrote me a letter saying, I've made a model of the wicker arches out of Weetabix,